And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land, a Saturday night edition here. Is this like Saturday night main event here, Mike?
I think it is. We're probably going prime time.
We are, and I'm very happy to do that. This is good times. Nice
Yeah.
time here. Sure, we're gonna miss the last bits of sunlight of the day, but that's okay. That is all right. That is not a problem at all. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in here on this Saturday night edition of Going Nuclear, full blown coverage of the land. I'm Ethan Greenberg. Alongside of me is my co host, Mike Rasinski. We are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, a subsidiary of Fans First Sports Network. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Mike, across the pond, appreciate it. I know you're watching the Guardians. And hey, look, they may get a win today. The Cavs in the Summer League managed to pick up their first victory. That's always good. We're going to cover them. We'll talk about the Guardians. We're going to talk about the Cavs, Browns, realistic expectations here. And just wanted to mention here before we get started, had an opportunity this week to catch up with a high school classmate of mine. And Mike, this is along the lines of you and I reconnecting. It's really cool when that happens. But I talked to my good friend Aaron Joseph, and folks, if you are in the Stark County area, if you're looking for all the best in auto solutions, be sure to stop by one of Horizon Audio's 3 locations in North Canton. They are on Whipple Avenue. In Canton, they're on Tuscarawas Street. Or you can hit up Alliance, and they are on South Union. Aaron Joseph, he's owned all 3 of the locations since 2016. They've been around since 1989. They're not just doing your car stereos, speakers, subwoofers. They offer things like window tint and film. They do radar detectors, remote start security, dash cams. Oh, but wait, there's more.
There's
Um,
more.
but wait, there is more. And you can check them out at horizonaudio.com. But they also do stuff on boats. They can put in sound systems on boats, off-road vehicles, and motorcycles. So, folks, I just want to remind you, if you are in the Stark County area and you're in need of auto solutions and services, check out Horizon Audio. You can find them on the web at horizonaudio.com. Once again, and you can try and look them up there on the web. Aaron Joseph, my good friend at Horizon Audio.
Now I
So,
just need a vote.
yeah, I think that's what you need, Mike. That really would add to your portfolio.
Yeah.
I,
We'll put it on the wish list.
I
We'll
think that's
see.
a good
We'll
thing.
see what
I think it's, you know what
25.
I wish we had, Mike.
What's
I
that?
wish we had a winning baseball team.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I,
It
I
was they weren't even watchable for the last 2 weeks. It's
no, they were absolutely horrific. I mean, we talked about it before. What is guards ball? Because to me, guards ball was absolute dreck.
yeah. I mean, how do you throw a one hitter through 9 innings and lose a game? That just blows my mind. They threw a 3 hitter like the night before and lost that game too. It was just you didn't even want to watch the games.
No, I absolutely didn't. I couldn't bear to do it. I mean, I stayed up late last night and I watched that second game of the doubleheader. I had watched the end of the first game, and I was ticked that I stayed up late to watch that dreck.
Now, can I interject here? And I have a question
Yes,
for
you
you. This
may.
is going to be my going nuclear, and so I have to come up with something on the fly. But why do you so vote decided in extra innings yesterday to play for 2 runs, and his theory is when you're on the road, and he was quoting this in the story this morning, when you're on the road in extra innings you play for 2 runs because the home team will probably score one. Well, that backfired on him yesterday when, after the 10th inning, the White Sox, I've never heard that before, and I wanted to get your take on that as well. Would you play for 2 on the road?
I play for get a stinking run across the plate. I'm sorry. Like, if you try and play, it's like playing the prevent defense in football. It prevents you from winning. And I was ticked last night watching this. Like I said, I stayed up late to watch this garbage. I just couldn't believe this. And then what they were doing was mind-boggling. It was absolutely mind-boggling. And then to have, the way it ended with Allard not being able to get his glove down and get the ball. I mean, The White Sox tried to give the game away to us in the 10th inning, and we didn't manage to take advantage of that. It was just, it is frustrating. And
Frustrating. Yeah.
yeah, jinx or something. You owe me a Coke there. Poke, poke, you owe me a Coke. Um, I mean, it's been terrible. As Mike points out, we gave up 6 runs in a series and got swept.
And then
Wow.
how do you do that and then come back and sweep the Astros in Houston?
Right. None of this makes sense. So I guess my question is this. So we lose 10 games in a row and we win 4 straight. We've won 4 or 5, and hopefully they'll be able to close out a win here this afternoon. That'll make it 5 out of 6. Who is this team? We're 14 games out of the AL Central coming into today, 5 games out of the last AL wild card spot. I mean, but are we closer to the 10-game losing streak, Guardians, or closer to the 4 out of 5 playoff Guardians of last year?
Well, looking at the offense and this team's batting average, I think we're closer to the 10 game losing streak Guardians. I mean, like today, I just pulled up the game today against the White Sox. They've got 3 guys hitting below 200 in the lineup, and then you got 3 other guys batting below 230. So that's six out of your 9 that aren't even hitting league average, which is about 240, 242. This team just cannot hit the pitching, and you have some great stats. I'm sure you'll call out here. The pitching isn't horrible. I mean, during our 10-game losing streak, the pitching was actually excellent. We just could not score runs, and we don't play good defense either. But it's the offense, I think, is just killing us.
No, it absolutely is. I don't understand where the defense has gone. What in the world are they doing? I'm not going to go into this baloney about, oh, you need to practice more. I mean, clearly they're practicing. Do you think it has anything to do with players going in and out of the lineup?
It could, but they did that last year too, and they
Yeah.
seem to rebound, all right from all of that. But this year they do not. And is it the sophomore slump that you hear about? Is it the fact that 80% or whatever the stat is of folks need to go back to the minors at some point before they become a well-established player? And a lot of our guys have not done that yet because a lot of them were rookies last year, and we have a few more rookies up this year. It's just a young team, and maybe it's just that. Maybe they're just inexperienced, and they just got to grow through it, and so we can see something different next year. I was hoping that they,
That is painful.
yeah, I mean, I was hoping after last year's success they would just build off of that, but it really doesn't seem like they have been. They've regressed for sure.
Oh, yeah. Last year, every time they'd bring somebody up, they would catch a spark for a few weeks there. And anytime they needed to make some kind of a quick change, they were able to do that and sustain success throughout the season. So, Mike, we talked about just the anemic offense. So I quote, I chuckled when I saw this on ESPN.com, the category, the diff, the run differential. And all I thought about was the Cavs and the graphic at the arena and on the scoreboard, the diff. Well, the
I
diff,
I hate the diff.
I know you do. But coming into today's game, Cleveland minus 50. Minus 50. Only teams in the American League worse. Angels at minus 63. Orioles at minus 74. White Sox at minus 93. And an astounding, the A's minus 138. Oh, but wait, there's more. Like, if you thought minus 138 was bad, the Rockies minus 250.
That's impressive.
That you gotta be that's an achievement right there to be that darn bad. It's
Yeah.
just crazy. And we've only scored 341 runs on the season. 141 runs. That's it. The only teams that have scored fewer than us, Rockies, 331. White Sox, 325. Now, the Royals, they're a couple of wins better than us, 324 runs. And the Pirates, 320. I mean, that's astounding. It's absolutely astounding. And we're middle of the road in terms of the runs against us. I didn't even look to see how many earned runs those are, but it's 391 runs. We're right like basically smack dab in the middle. Giving up 391 runs, 15th in the league. I mean, I, I don't know. The pitching has been better, and the Rockies are basically a single A team. I don't know what the heck happened out there. That's craziness. It must be because we took Nolan Jones back from them, right?
Yeah, and that's working out real well for us. But hey, at least they're playing in a major league park because two teams aren't.
Yeah, exactly. What the Rays and the A's,
The A's.
Rays,
Yep, Rays
A's.
and A's.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
I,
Well, I
I
mean, I'm actually surprised our record's not worse with a negative 50 run differential. I think we've had a negative run differential since the season started. It seemed
we
like so.
did.
It's been actually a little bit impressive looking at the glass half full that they are where they are with that differential so low. And what are the? How do we fix these positions that are our weak spots? I mean, what do you do at catcher? We've got Hedges,
Oh,
who we all know what we get with Hedges. And then we have Naylor, who at this point we thought we would have a lot more. I mean, is he just a busted product? Is he recoverable?
I don't think so. My biggest issue with him is that you don't get any additional hitting out of him. He's not much better than Hedges,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a terrible defensive catcher, and I
Yeah,
think he calls a terrible game. I
he
mean,
cost us that one hit game with the squirter between his legs and
yeah,
in the ninth inning.
I'm like, come on, man. I'm sorry, he's got to go. I am hoping that maybe Cooper Ingle can eventually make an appearance, still in the farm system, but that's the only person I know of. I guess it's one of those deals where the pitching is okay. I have, you're right. I've been kind of feeling a little bit better lately, but like last night, I'm watching Gavin Williams. This guy is so inconsistent, all over the place. What did he walk the bases loaded?
Yeah,
I'm like, ball four, ball eight, and he walks the bases loaded. Oh, let's see how he reacts to this. I mean, like, what's going to happen? Is that Clue Haywood going to come out and hit a grand slam? Oh, it's too high. Too high. I mean,
right.
it's crazy. And then even Tanner Bybee today, the fourth inning, he comes out, we're up 2-0, and he's just giving up dink hit after dink hit. Then we have an error, we screw up an easy rundown. We had the guy picked off. I'm like, oh, come on. I mean, obviously the pickoff is not, and the mistake there is not Bybee's fault, but at the same time, these guys are just picking him apart. I mean,
Yeah.
it is frustrating. It is really, really frustrating at this point. And then I guess, you know, my question about, we talked about where are they really at. Um, Another thing is the front office for so long has done so well. We've all kind of looked and we think they win trades, right? Even
Yeah.
when we question them at first, they generally do pretty well. I know this year there's a lot of people saying, "Good boy, could we use a Josh Naylor in the lineup?"
Yeah.
Um,
I
you
don't think it
know,
would have made that big of a difference though.
I don't think so. I really don't think so in the grand scheme of things. He can't hit a stinking, breaking ball or off speed pitch to save his life. Um, and if there were concerns about him keeping in shape, and he's not doing that, like, well, what kind of dedication is that to the team? So the question is this: can you separate ownership and being upset with them versus holding some more accountability for the front office? Where do you lie on that?
Well, I mean, you look at the success the team's had since, let's just start with the Terry Francona era, which was
Right.
what, 2012, I think. And so we're talking about what, 13 seasons, and I think they've had winning records in all but what, two, three of those seasons. This might be the third season where we don't. I mean, that is a sustained record of success. So I wouldn't want to judge them just on the first half of one season right now. And there are some of these trades that I think they made that maybe are hurting us right now in the short term, but in the long term, it's really, it may end up paying off for us. We're just gonna have to suffer through maybe this one.
And that's the problem. The suffering through it. And I agree, Mike, we miss Jimenez defense more than Josh Naylor. Yeah, the defense of Jimenez at this
But he,
point, how much worse can the bats be? The problem is
yeah, I know.
they don't want to
He,
spend the money on it.
yeah, I mean, Then we could get into the talk about the salary cap and these ridiculous contracts that we give
Yeah,
players.
exactly.
If
And
we're
we're
kind of
gonna
back to that.
right. So
Um,
now that's my other question: is the front office, for as well as they have done, are they doing it with their hands tied behind their backs?
I think a little bit because for whatever reason, they only have so much money to spend, and it's always in like the bottom
It is.
five teams in the
It
league. So,
yeah.
so yeah, I think that they do, and they do a masterful job at doing what they can with their limits. And honestly, if you want to get down to it, there will never be a salary cap in baseball if they have these local TV rights because Cleveland will never make as much money as New York. And if we're not making that much money, they're never going to spend that much money unless you have national TV rights, like football does, when they can
Yep.
split it evenly like that.
I wholeheartedly agree. And we go into the salary cap stuff. So and the All Star break. So let's go there for a moment. The All Star break. Jose was selected to start at third base. Has decided he's not going to participate. He's going to rest for the second half of the season. I guess. So the first question: how does that sit with you? You know, him deciding to not participate. Do you think that's at all in any way, shape, or form a slap in the face to people who voted you in, all the fans?
No, not at all, because it'll still go next to his name, All Star
Yep.
starter, no matter what in his career. And it just shows where his focus is. It's not on the All Star game, it's on getting healthy to try to make a push for the second half of the season. So I wholeheartedly respect that decision.
Bingo. I 100% agree with you. Not even 1,000%, but 100% because as we discussed before about these extra percentages, I'm not so sure about that. And Jose Ramirez, I would say, as I thought about it, I think now that Nick Chubb is gone from Cleveland, he's moved on to Houston. I think Jose Ramirez is really the face of Cleveland sports in his attitude and relatability compared to other guys. Yeah, sure, Miles Garrett is great. Donovan Mitchell is great. But Jose Ramirez is just the hardworking kind of blue collar guy. He took a hometown discount to stay here. So I feel like Jose is sort of the face of Cleveland sports right now, whether most people recognize it or not. I think he is. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if he wasn't already, he should have been that face even with like Nick Chubb here because he's been around a lot longer. Was it 2015 when he came up? So he's been the face for the last 10 years of the tribe, and it should have been for all of Cleveland.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just one of those deals where it's a Browns town. It's a Browns town, and people, as much as they are disillusioned with the ownership of the Browns and moves they make, they're just as equally ticked off about the ownership of the Guardians and what they're willing to spend or not spend. And so it's kind of it's unfair to him in a
So
way.
let me ask you this question. You just brought it up. Which ownership group would you rather have, the Dolans or the Haslams?
Haslam's.
I would rather have the Dolans. I
Okay.
mean,
All right. State your case.
okay, the Dolans, the rhetoric is that they're cheap and they won't spend. I will counter that a little bit with they spend within their means. Who knows what those means are, but we know they don't make as much money as like the Yankees do. Whether they lose money on the team or make money on the team, I don't know. I'm guessing they make money on the team. So they're spending within their means. They've hired smart people to do their jobs, and that has paid off in a decade of winning baseball essentially. Although we have not won the entire thing. Haslam, on the other hand, obviously has no trouble spending money, but that because he has no trouble spending money and making these decisions, he's actually handicapped the team for probably the next 5 or 6 years with the stupid call he made with Watson. So he's done, I think, more damage. Even though he's willing to spend more, I think he's done more long term damage than the Dolans do.
You all your points are solid, and I could sit on that. I could see it and go with that 100%. I think that for me, though, I find that I'd rather have the Dolans because they are newer ownership. I guess let's see if they learn from their mistakes and their willingness to put their money where their mouth is. Um, is something that allows you to be competitive. Now, again, we're talking a little bit apples and oranges because of the salary cap issue in baseball and TV rights. It's a little bit difficult to figure that out. But again, they don't play to lose, if that makes sense, even though they did in 17
Even
and 18
even though
or
that's all they
16
do.
and 17. Even though that's all they do, and technically, and they did a tank job there in 1-31 over 2 seasons. Well, good news, folks. It is final from Chicago. The Guardians back on the winning side of things with a 6-2 win over the Pale Hose. I don't know what uniforms they were wearing yesterday. Some, I don't know, honoring the Bulls or something, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would tend to, just because I'm so frustrated with seeing, and it's been even before the Dolans really, seeing the baseball team have to watch their best players walk out the door or sign, or get traded or signed elsewhere. I mean, all the way back, CC Sabathia, Bartolo Colon, all of our sluggers. It's bothersome, and that's also partially a part of the Major League Baseball model. So
But can
I
we
hear
all
you.
agree that we'd all rather have like a Gilbert ownership
Yes,
model?
yes,
Look how much good he's done for the city, bringing back a WNBA franchise. He's redeveloping the riverfront right in front of Rocket
yep,
Arena. Um, he's what they own the Charge and also the Monsters, and
yep.
they draw like
They
they
draw
draw.
very well.
Yeah, so I mean, they know how to run an organization and actually do good for the city.
Yeah, did you see the story about the new thing, the COSM that's
Oh,
coming to, that looks awesome. I could
it
see it
really does.
as something really cool to be able to watch a game.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree. It'd be a unique experience.
definitely. Now, at the All-Star break, so I'm reading that they're apparently going to use the ABS system, the automatic balls and strike, at least to allow a challenge, kind of like they did in spring training. So for me, that kind of pissed me off because they're going to do that there, and we're still stuck watching these clowns behind the plate be
Yeah.
inconsistent every night and unpredictable. I mean, does that? How about you? How does that make you feel when you see that like, hey, we're going to bring it back for this?
And not only that, I totally agree with you. Like the way they're doing it too, you get what, two challenges a game? Just use it for the whole game. I mean, what is this crap? Like
Yeah,
restricting how you use it.
it's a baloney. It's absolute baloney. I don't understand it because it needs to be consistent. I know there are people, we've discussed it ad nauseum. There are people who hanging on to the purity of the game and the this and the that and the other. But like, I want it right. I want it consistent. I want it fair. I see these pitches, good and bad for both teams, where I'm like, what are you doing? And then they're calling check swing strikes. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Again, please get it right. And Mike, yep, that news really annoyed me about the ABS. Absolutely, it's just ridiculous. Um, there's been some discussion apparently about a salary cap. We talked about that, on the last episode. What do you take? Would you be willing to see a strike if that's what it took to get a salary cap and get an even playing field? Do you think that they should try to implement the salary cap, or if they would have more success, at least trying to implement a salary floor? And even if they did that, would that solve for the problem, or would you still have the same issue of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer?
Yeah, I think if you have to do both. I don't think you can do one or the other. I really think it has to come in as a package deal. And I still don't know how you do this with local TV rights unless everybody just takes it and you pool it together and then divvy it out almost like a national model. But if you're not going to do that, even revenue sharing doesn't is not the same thing as a national TV media deal where you're actually splitting all the revenue evenly. I almost think that has to be the third leg of this, salary cap, salary floor, national TV deal. And I don't know why they don't do it that way. Why they have to have all these regional networks,
Well,
which
right, because
don't work anyways.
yeah, I mean they've clearly been able to use MLB TV as a way to transmit these things. Now, and I understand that they're using, I guess, local production for it in a way, but clearly they have a way. I think there's a pathway to do it and it would behoove them to do so. It would be good for them or to at least, like you said, pool the money. And then, another great question here Mike poses: what do you do with the teams like the Dodgers? With the deferring of the salary, how do you even deal with that if you're going to try and implement a salary cap and a salary floor when they've got contracts 10 years out, paying people $750 million?
Yeah, I guess you just have to get rid of that rule. Like you can't you can't defer money. Like that have to be part of it, I guess. I mean
Yeah,
that's
I mean they'd have to come up. I'm sure it would be very very difficult to initially implement it, but once it
yeah.
gets in place, I think you got to do it. It's for the best of the game, for having parity and not having teams that are like every couple of years being like, well, we can't spend any more money. Bye, adios, and we're not in contention. So let's sell all of our good players and prospects and this, that, and the other, because just so we aren't in the red. I don't know.
I know that the argument people make are like we haven't had a repeat World Series champ in like 21 years or something like that. But they're missing the point that if you look at where the World Series champ ranks and how much they spent that year, it's always like one of the top five teams, always. Except maybe yeah, really, there's an exceptions here or there. But even like when you think about it, when the Royals won it in 2015, I think they were spending a lot just that one year because they knew that was their window. I mean, it just proves that you have to buy your team essentially in the majors to win.
Yeah, you've got to be willing to put up some money. It's clear you cannot nickel and dime it. It's only going to take you so far. We've kind of witnessed that in Cleveland in recent playoff runs, and when they did spend the money, we were one game away, and we had it. We had it, and to come up that short is so disappointing.
So Cleveland.
Oh, well, great. Down note here on a Saturday night. And on that note, let's take a brief time out here so we can have a word from our sponsors. You are tuned in to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land. And welcome back, everybody, to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land here on the Fanatical Elves Network, a part of Fans First Sports Network. I'm Ethan Greenberg, along with Mike Rosinski. Again, if you missed it earlier, I want to thank our friends over at Horizon Audio. If you are in the Stark County area, be sure to check out Horizon Audio in North Canton on Whipple Avenue, in Canton on Tuscarawa Street, or in Alliance on South Union Avenue. Check them out at horizonaudio.com. So moving on, Mike, Cavs Summer League. Hey, we got our first victory today, a 93-83 win over the Bucks. But the first game, did you have PTSD after the first game of Summer League?
Yeah, yes, I did.
I mean, to lose, not only to blow a lead, but to blow that lead to the Pacers, that's painful. That
To
that
the
that is, I, I don't even know what to say about that. It's just mind-boggling that it happened
yeah,
again.
yeah. I mean, the only silver lining is this is summer league. Like, who cares?
Exactly,
That's it.
exactly.
But like, it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing that that's how they lose again.
Yeah, I mean, they go in the opening game of Summer League. For those of you who haven't followed, the Cavs lost 116 to 115 against the Pacers. This is all out in Las Vegas. The Pacers were down by 13 at the half, and they were down by 10 points with 2:38 remaining in the game. Um, I, I don't know, but like you said, the results, okay, no big deal here. Um, good news out of that game, or possible good news. Naquan Tomlin, 30 points in 27 minutes. Jalen Tyson had 20 points in 32 minutes. And first round, or our first pick in the draft from this year, Tyrese Proctor, 14 points, won 5 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from beyond the 3-point arc. Like, I don't know. Those are the guys. That's what I'm paying attention to. Are you kind of on the same page with like, look, the result doesn't matter, but we need to see X, Y, and Z out of these players?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we already know who the starters are going to be for this Cavs team, and I think it's been proven that we need to have a deep bench for this team to go far. And so we're trying to pick out who that bench is going to be right now. And this is what the summer league is for. And right now, it looks like there are three guys that are standing out after 2 games. I mean, Tomlin showed a little bit of flashes last year when when
Yeah,
he
he
played.
did.
Yeah, and now he's getting to highlight more consistently in the summer league. And then just seeing Tyson and Proctor kind of see how they develop, first and second year players and see if they can contribute.
And the Cavs desperately need these guys to develop. Unfortunately, Craig Porter Jr. left the first game with an injury. I don't think it's nothing long term, but certainly it would be nice to get him to have more reps. We need to know if we can count on him, not just in garbage time, but put him out there in meaningful minutes. I did that from time to time, but I need to have more confidence in that guy for certain, since we're going to be relying on hoping that Lonzo Ball stays healthy, not having Ty Jerome anymore, and you got Sam Merrill. He has injury problems as well. So that backup point guard spot is going to be real important.
Yeah, and isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that how Sam Merrill highlighted himself a couple years ago? It was in the summer league. In
You
that
know,
kind of
yeah, I can't say for certain. I can't recall to be honest. I try and blur out the summer or the summer league a little bit, so I didn't have that kind of committed to memory. So you are probably right though on that. And Sam, Sam obviously they liked what he did. And that's why they re-signed him, and I'm glad that they did that. He brings a good attitude. I know we talked about the what the heck is with a neck injury right before you're about to get eliminated, and he's not out on the floor. That was kind of that kind of ticked me off just a fuzz there. Um, but I don't know. We've got to see some growth out of Tyson today. Not so good. 18 points in 31 minutes, 3 of 13 from the field. 3 of 8
yeah,
from beyond the 3 point arc, and 9 of 10 at the foul stripe. I like that. But 3 of 13? I don't know his shot chart, but that's not good.
that's painful to
Proctor,
see.
not much better, but he's a rookie. 3 of
Yeah,
11 from the field, 3 of 8 from downtown, 3 of 6 at the foul stripe. And then Tomlin, 22 points, 9 of 12 from the field, and even went 2 of 3 from beyond the 3 point line. I mean,
and,
that
and 13 rebounds.
he is going to be very important. I mean, we need another big. We need some strength on the front line, and he's a big dude. He's quite the haul. I don't
So,
know.
what do you think of? I think we mentioned it last week, but we never talked about it. The Cavs getting rid of Amoni Bates.
You
They
know,
cut ties with him.
I from what I saw out of him, he needs a lot of work to get. He's got potential, but he's got a long way to go. His body has not he hasn't filled out.
He does look very fragile.
He really does, and that's not the end all be all for certain, but uh, he shows flashes. He's got ability, but the consistency, and I think that's where the difference between the G League, the guys who are on far down on the bench, the rotational players and the starters, is the consistency, the ability to do it from game to game, from minute to minute at a very high level. And that's where I think he is lacking. So to lose someone like Amani Bates, it kind of sucks. I would have loved to have seen him succeed. I like the pick. Hey, low risk, high reward type of thing. It just didn't happen. But at the same time, uh, I think that we have filled some of the void with the length by adding Lonzo Ball, by having potentially Tyrese Proctor. I think that kind of sealed the deal there. If it hadn't, I don't know the exact timeline. I'd have to look back at it, but you filled that in with a Tyrese Proctor. I think we got him under contract for 4 years. We are going to need him to develop and really, just be there, because we can't be so reliant on our top, our core four, or whatever it is. If you said we had it all season last season, you go into the playoffs and all of a sudden they just completely crap the bed out there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I was so Bates was on a two-way last year.
Right?
I'm looking at the roster here of all these bench players in the summer league. Is was he not better than any of those these bench players or even the starters we have in the summer league that we could stash him with the charge, or there's some deal with his 2-way contract where we couldn't just put him on the charge for this
Yeah,
year.
I am not certain about that. I mean, I don't know that there's any limits there, so I could be wrong, but yeah, who knows what the negotiations were. I didn't go down that path and really look into it too much. I just kind of said chalked it up as an L and was like, huh? Or not even an L, just it is what it is. It is what it is. He's moved on, and that's okay. I'm not worried about that. I like what Mike points out here. Hopefully, TT doesn't come back to waste a roster spot. So, what do you think about that, Mike? What do you think about Tristan Thompson and his role on the team?
I mean, so I think it provided probably some leadership. A guy that's been there, won a championship with this team, because they're a young team. I mean, what Donovan Mitchell is pretty much the oldest of all of their core players at 26, maybe I
Yeah,
want to say
probably like
28.
him and Struess are probably about the most seasoned players, and even DeAndre Hunter's been around for a little while. I mean, but yeah, you're right. I
Yeah,
mean, we're young. We are relatively young and inexperienced, so I don't mind Thompson from that perspective. As someone who's that far down on the bench is not expected to come in and play a lot. But let me ask you this, and because I don't think this has happened when we were talking last time. It looks like Kevin Love might get bought out, or has, or might, be going to get bought out by the Jazz. Would you want to bring him back on a veteran minimum deal?
yeah. Well, we need to get some veteran minimum contracts
Yes, we
on the
do.
roster. So if that's a possibility, I mean, even just for the nostalgic factor, it's almost like a Tristan Thompson deal where
Right.
you're just doing it. He can be productive at times, but he's going to ride the end of your bench. Fans here love him. Uh, great memories, and he could also provide some of that leadership. So I would be okay with it.
Yeah,
How about
actually,
you?
I think he can be a little bit more than a Tristan Thompson. Um, Great rebounder and a great shooter. I mean, Thompson, he's a good rebounder, and you love his effort out there, but he's not going to be able to shoot the ball. At least if you bring in, look at what we had at the end of the bench during the championship run. We had a guy like James Jones sitting there who could come in and shoot if necessary. That's what we're not looking for a guy to play a ton of minutes. We're just looking for a guy who can be a leader, somebody who can come in, fill the void, and do a nice job. And so I wouldn't hate it if there
Yeah,
were an opportunity to bring him back. But I think I heard Brian Windhurst saying if they have an open roster spot, they may leave it. They may not fill it right away. This whole second apron thing is just kooky. It's absolutely kooky. And I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, maybe LeBron. Oh, no, no, no. We already know that is like not going to happen unless they're like a 20-team trade to get that guy back here. But he certainly doesn't seem happy with Los Angeles, and Los Angeles doesn't seem to be happy with him.
yeah, no, I agree. And it would why couldn't LeBron take the minimum salary to come back for the Cavs? All right, he has more money than he's ever going to be able to spend in him and his great 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 grandchildren's lives. If he really wants to win a championship, he should come back to Cleveland.
Thing is, I think it'll be, and they talked about it, I think it'll be not this year, next year. When he opted in, he screwed it. That messed everything up that he can't do that. So, but maybe by next year, maybe that'll be a possibility. I know some people hate the guy and they're scorned lovers, and I understand it. They just talked about what is it, the anniversary of him doing the decision to leave, doing that whole fiasco. Then also the anniversary of him announcing his comeback was all within the past week or so. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a kind of a crazy thing there. Did you hear the story, Mike, that uh, Donovan Mitchell was at that Boys and Girls Club, or at where that he wasn't inside, but he was there on that night that LeBron made that announcement.
Really?
Yeah, apparently they had people knew where it was going to be, and he was there. He was outside of the gym or whatever, um, checking that out. It's kind of crazy.
So,
Oh,
As you're talking, I was looking up Kevin Love's stats, and it
Okay,
looks
okay.
like he's now with the Utah Jazz.
Right. And so I believe he may be getting bought out. That was part of a trade.
Oh, I see. Okay, now it's
So
making sense to me.
there
Okay.
you go. Yeah, sorry about that. Um, so I don't know. We're going to need to see a lot out of the Cavs. It's early. It's summer league. Hey, Donovan Mitchell, I think I saw it, engaged. He
Oh,
got
good for
engaged.
him. Hey, can I,
Coco
speaking of
Jones.
him, what's that?
Coco Jones, I think is her name, if I saw
Oh,
correctly.
good for him. Speaking of that, so we saw a lot of, speaking of him, a lot of Achilles injuries during the playoffs. And after reading up on them and all these stories, it sounds like, Achilles injuries happens when you have a calf strain or some kind of calf injury because that part of your leg is not stable anymore. Do we feel lucky that Mitchell has not had an Achilles injury? Because we know he has had calf problems and he had it again this postseason.
Oh, yes, you are on the money, Mike. We should consider ourselves very, very fortunate that he did not suffer an Achilles injury with that calf strain. And what I read about it as well is it's the wear and tear, and it can also have to do with so much more muscle and the straining on it, and it snaps. And it just, as we see, it pops, and that's disgusting.
I know, I'm not good at that either.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of seeing the recoil and the spring of their calf. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I don't even like watch my own blood getting drawn.
oh man, folks, pulling back the curtain here, it's like I'm a dope and didn't take care of myself and ended up with type 2 diabetes. And when I have to go to the endocrinologist and they're drawing blood, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling queasy over there. Another experience of my own poor health choices and stuff. I ended up with gout in my knee, and they're drawing the fluid out of it. First of all, that's disgusting in and of itself. Second of all, they're doing this, and I'm about to pass out in there. I'm like, it got a little woozy. They had to get me the cold towel to
Oh yeah.
keep me from going down. A little smelling salt. It was kind of brutal. Do you think about that, Mike? Back in the day in the NFL, you got your quote unquote bell rung, and they just get you over on the sidelines, give you some smelling salt, and you're good to go, right?
Yeah, and then that's the exact reason I am hesitant to have my boys play tackle football. That right there.
No, I don't blame you. It is not as as much as they try to make it safer these days. And obviously helmets are better, and it doesn't matter. You get hit with that kind of force, whether you get knocked to the ground and you hit your head on the turf. That can do just it rattles everything around up in there. There is nothing you can do about that.
So we're kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but did you hear about Jackson Holiday? He plays for the Orioles.
Okay.
Uh, well, the Athletic had a story about his whole family because
Okay.
his younger brother may be getting drafted number one tomorrow because tomorrow's the MLB
Okay.
draft. And it's talking about the Holiday legacy just in all of his dad was the coach at Oklahoma State. His grandpa almost made the Yankees. This whole thing. But his dad is let me make sure I get this right. I think it's Jackson and Ethan is his brother. Their dad is paralyzed, and he got paralyzed by making a tackle in high school football. So he had a promising career in high school. Obviously, was never able to fulfill that because he, is in a wheelchair for the rest of his life by high school. But his sons now are, I believe it's his sons are now, carrying on this great legacy that they have in the majors.
Well, I had not read that, and that's just man, that is crazy. And think about it, Mike. Remember in high school, while in high school, LeBron was still playing football.
Yeah, he broke his arm, I believe, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine if he had gotten his entire career ruined playing high school football when he was headed to being one of the greatest of all time in basketball? Could you have imagined it?
Then he would have really needed to sign that $56 million deal
Yes.
with the Lakers. this year.
Yes, yes, he would have. Okay, so here's a good question. Before we move on to the clowns, um, Mike asks, do we think the NBA will eventually reduce the schedule from 82 games if we continue to see these injuries? Um, I'll go first on this one, Mike. I don't know because I don't think it's a matter of load. What the only reason I could see them reducing the games is maybe to cut this crap with load management. Um, but I don't see. I think calf strains are just they are what they are. The soft tissue injuries are a big deal now, and I don't know if there's more of a physiology to that. Sports science with these guys and all the training they do, you would think they'd be in better shape. Yet somehow they're constantly pulling this and pulling that, and then you do that, and it leads to these types of injuries. I don't know that the number of games specifically is going to do that. And actually, it probably starts even long before that when they are kids now and they are playing basketball like year round, whereas back in the day, you played in your on your high school team. Maybe you played on a travel team a little bit, but now you're all over the place playing so much basketball, and that ongoing wear and tear, I think, is where that comes from. I don't see them cutting it due to those injuries. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I've only ever seen pro sports increase the number of games played, and it's all because of money. Baseball's gone up to 162 games, and what it was 140 for a long time, and it was less than that before. So it's only increased. Football just went from 14 to 16 to 17. Now they're talking about an 18 game schedule.
Yeah.
All about money. And if you reduce the number of games in a season, you're losing money. So I just for that reason, I don't see them doing it.
No, that I don't see that. Good question, Mike. Appreciate that. So the NFL season is around the corner. Training camp is going to be getting underway here very soon for the Browns and everybody else, for that matter. Um, I guess it's probably the furthest thing from your mind. In fact, I'm almost positive it's literally the furthest thing from your mind. But just for argument's sake, let's suppose you were actually thinking about it. Um, what do you think the Browns actually could be this season?
Disappointment.
Oh well, that's a for certain. That's almost a certain, Mike.
I see them winning 5 or 6 games, getting probably the number 7 pick in the draft, and us hoping for Jacksonville to tank again this year too. What I'm hoping for is that we have some clarity at the quarterback position. I think it's a lost season. We're not making the playoffs. But let's at least figure out if one of these four, or well, I shouldn't even say four, one of these three is a viable long term solution, or do we have to start all over again and waste some draft capital on another quarterback next spring? So
Exactly. No, I am firmly in your corner and in your camp on that thinking and thought process about what the Browns season is going to be or might be. We face a brutal season, and you never know what's going to happen to other teams and injuries. We've had surprises, but I last year I think there was a lot of false hope that the Browns were going to be great. Deshaun was going to come back from injury, blah blah blah, and it just never happened. It didn't. Starting in training camp with this country club training camp they did with people ramping up and this, that, and the other, and then you come out in the opener and lay just a giant brownie, against the Cowboys. It was ridiculous. And I guess we're going to be, as Mike points out, we're going to get our stat sheets out to track the quarterbacks during training camp, and he's rooting for the Jags to go 0-17. Yes,
there
yes,
you
I
go.
am. So I think that if you're talking about the quarterback situation, how do you think it'll play out? If you're looking at the guys that we've got, we're talking about Pickett, Flacco, Gabriel Sanders. What do you prognosticate?
Well, the first 5 games of the season are really, really hard. So I don't see a rookie quarterback succeeding with that schedule at all. So all you're going to do is ruin him, ruin his confidence. So that leads me to believe that you have to go with one of the two veterans to at least start the season. Um, I think you should probably go with Pickett, if even if he's a little less, less good in the preseason and training camp than Flacco, just to see how Pickett responds. He is a veteran now to these first 5 games. If he gets hurt, then you put in Flacco. Maybe you let the rookies start week 7, week 8, and go from there, and to see what you got with at least one of those rookies. That's what I would do. What about you?
Yeah, so for all the reasons you said, I agree with starting a veteran. However, I don't see Pickett as a long-term solution. If we've talked about this before, if he is too good, if he has a magical season, yeah, we'd all be excited, but he's going to want too much money and we can't afford him and he's gone, right? Um, I think Flacco, we know what he is. He's going to turn the ball over. He's not going to, but he can push the ball downfield. He's a professional. He's a professional. I like him as a professional more than I like Kenny Pickett as a professional. And given that neither of them are the long-term solution, I'd rather go with Flacco. If you get a few wins, then you keep riding him until you don't. Of course, we know there's going to be injuries. Then when it comes to the rookies, you're talking about Gabriel and Sanders. Clearly, the people in the Browns organization, they like some of the things that Gabriel brings to the table. Certainly, there are parts of his game that are not great. You can't change his physical stature. We've discussed that before. Sanders, on the other hand, he fell for a reason. I don't know if it's all skill set. He certainly has some traits that need to be cleaned up. The fact that he didn't impress people in interviews, allegedly, it's not a great scenario. But I think you start with the veterans. Someone's going down. We're going to be injured or we're going to stink, and they're going to be trying to play these guys. But you and I are on the same page here. I think most people are. We need to know, do we have our starting quarterback on this roster? Because if we have two, even if we don't have a great record this season, but we've got two really good draft picks, if we can get two of the best players available, as opposed to having to take another shot on a quarterback, that would be the ideal situation. Mike here, hoping the Saints trade for Pickett and then start Flacco until at least week 6, which would be through the Steelers game. Coming back from London against the Vikings and then playing the Steelers. I wouldn't have a problem with that either, because the Saints, who do they have? Tyler Shuck?
Yeah, great question. Saying I wouldn't start him. Like,
No, they are going to be putrid. They are going to be putrid. I mean, I just at a bit of a loss here. I try not to think about it too much. I am going in with our usual zero expectations. And certainly if they do anything more than that, then hey, great. And we'll be watching for the Jaguars to lose. It'll be fantastic.
fantastic. Do you think the fans will have as much patience as we just talked about with waiting to see what the rookies do? You and I both agree, and Mike agrees too. It seems like we should wait till at least week 6 to start a rookie. Are the fans, the first time Pickett or
Oh,
Flacco
no,
has a
no,
bad
no,
game, are
no.
they going to be crying for one of the rookies?
I think they were in the crowd chanting for DTR at times. So if that tells you anything, we all know what's going to happen, and there is going to be a vocal minority that is going to be clamoring for a rookie to play. We've seen it happen time and time and time again since 1999. I mean, uh, obviously there were some rookies that got thrown in there when they shouldn't have, a la, I guess, throwing in
Everyone.
Manziel. Well, but at a time when there was a veteran who was playing pretty well, to throw in Manziel, that was crazy. Deshaun Kaiser, obviously they were tanking, and we were terrible. So I don't even know what you do about that. Um, so it's tough. Now, I mean, one could argue, well, what it took him so long to put Baker in there? Why did you make him sit the first 2 or 2.5 games until Tyrod Taylor gets injured? Why wasn't he in there to start with? I mean, I don't know, but It's they're going to be again. There will be fans, a vocal minority that is clamoring for a rookie to start, and there's also going to be a vocal minority that is ready for Kevin Stefanski to be fired because apparently any of their success has not been due to his coaching, and all of their failures have to do with his coaching and leadership. Did you know that, Mike? Can you do that? Is that how that works?
That's how it works in some people's minds.
Yeah, and I can't argue stupid. I can't argue with stupid. Uh, yeah, yeah, exactly. If we start 0-4, we might have to hey, look. If we're 0-4, might as well be 0-5.
I
Um,
think it's when we start 0-4, not if we
oh
start.
yes, yes. Look, quite honestly, here's what's going. Let's talk early predictions. Somehow, some way, we're gonna like beat the Bengals, and everybody's gonna be jacked up and talk about the Super Bowl, and it's gonna be absolutely ridiculous. And I don't
Well, I
know.
mean, that's what they do. They raise our expectations just to disappoint. You can't
No, no,
just
no,
be
no, no, no.
disappointed from the beginning.
No, 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 no. We're not going to do that this year, Mike. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep those expectations low. All right. I'm
All right.
promising myself I'm not going to get hurt by the Browns again. Um, I mean, look, they're going to disappoint us this week. Apparently, they're going to announce another alternate helmet that they can wear throughout the once or something throughout the season. I'm waiting to see that disaster and for people to be all jazzed up over that. And I'm like, hey, you could wear whatever you want to wear, but until you're winning games, I don't care. I don't care. Oh boy. So yeah, Mike, we have been pretty decent against them, even in the Joe Burrow era. So we'll see. Things are going to start heating up. Things are going to start heating up here. All right, Mike. Well, we're getting a little late here, but why don't you tell us what has you going nuclear this week? And it's not the kids at the house being too noisy because they're not there.
They're not there this week. That's right. I did though before they left for the in-laws this morning. I took two of the boys to see the Superman movie
Oh,
last
how'd
night.
that go?
So, because last year, I don't know if you remember, I took the boys up and we actually saw some of the sets in downtown Cleveland where they closed off the streets. And I'm like, well, boys, let's go see the movie now that it's out and see the sets that we saw. The movie, excellent, by the way. There's many times you see the Terminal Tower, and who knew it was in downtown Metropolis, but it is because they CGI this giant city in the background, but there's the Terminal Tower right there. You can spot a ton of Cleveland landmarks in the movie too, which is great. The bridges, the ballpark's in there. It's fantastic. But what has me going nuclear is you go to the theater nowadays, and I don't know if you noticed how much they've raised ticket prices. It's
Oh, it's
absolutely
outrageous.
insane. And then you buy the popcorn and the drinks and everything. And those prices have always been bad, and they gouge you there. But now, in addition to all of that, there is like 15 minutes of commercials before they start the movie. Not just previews, which I'm okay with. I'll watch a preview. Like truck commercials and whatever.
Oh,
Like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the movie business. If they're just trying to gouge you and make more money, but like there's gonna come a time where it's like I can't afford this anymore, guys. And now you're making me wait to watch the movie for an extra 15 minutes to show me commercials. That's why I go to the movies, so I don't have to watch commercials. I get that at home. So that's
exactly.
what happens with nuclear.
Oh my! Look, I'm right there with you. I think your sentiment is felt by many far and wide. We go maybe to the movies, uh, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, but not unless it's something really worthwhile. My mom wanted to take him to the movies when we were in Ohio. I'm like, there's nothing they want to see, and so we're like, forget it. And I'm a cheapskate, and I'm like, nah, you can. You don't need anything. The most we'll get is some water. You know, I'm like, I'm not getting raked over the coals there and ripped off. The tickets are enough as is, and I don't know. I'm just a Scrooge of sorts, I guess. You can call me whatever name you want. Throw whatever you want at the book at me there. But speaking of the book, what has me going nuclear? Kind of harkening back to another day. Phone numbers. Not really
Okay.
phone books, but phone number listings. So, will somebody please explain to me how on earth my phone number, the caller ID, shows up as my ex wife sometimes?
When you call somebody else, They are seeing your ex-wife's number on their phone?
My ex-wife's name. It's my number, my ex-wife's name. We have not had, first of all, we weren't using this current cell phone provider when we were married. Second of all, it has been 18 years since we were married. I am not certain how this happens, but I'm getting calls from places. It's a work related call. Yes, I'm searching for such and such, asking for my ex-wife. I'm like, wait, what? And it comes to figure out they're looking at the number and it comes up on their caller ID, the name that came up, even though I left a voicemail, whatever. They're asking for my ex-wife. Then I've got people, some listing of a person who I've never met under my cell phone number. I'm like, who is this person and why are they listed under this number? So what has me going nuclear is the ridiculousness with phone listings and things such as that. It's the 411. Where's the 411? Can we get it right, please?
I feel like you need to get Jacob on that. Like we need the younger generation to help us now with with technology.
Mike, were you listening in on my conversations recently? Because I told Jacob, I said, Jacob, $1 million idea. If you figure out how to fix this issue for people so that phone numbers are not showing up with, getting listed for the wrong people and getting into databases, fixing that so that you're not getting unwanted calls and getting mistaken calls would be amazing. It is a huge, I think there's something out there, but I don't know. Maybe your boys are probably smarter than mine. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, but yeah. So the inability of, I don't know, technology to be correct and phone numbers being jacked up is in fact what has me going nuclear here today on a Saturday. And so with that, Mike, I'm going to let you go enjoy the West End Wee Waxation at West. And you can have. And for those of you that are fans of Looney Tunes, old Elmer Fudd. Oh, West End Wee Waxation at West. And you can enjoy the quiet there at your house. Got any big plans for the week?
Just a lot of studying, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
That's yeah. I don't envy you. That is no good.
Yeah.
That
What
is.
about you?
It's going to be a quiet week here, guys. It was supposed to be vacation week for the kids down at the grandparents in Wilmington, but their HVAC died.
Oh, not good in the
Eh,
summer.
No, no, it is not. Not down in Wilmington, North Carolina. They are awaiting a replacement, and that's going to take an extra couple weeks here before they get that. So the kids, slight delay on the trip down there, but that's all right. The kids don't bother me. They stay in their room. I have to get them with the cattle prod to get them outside, but it'll be another fantastic week of work. It looks like the rain has passed. I might get out a quick walk here this evening. And I guess, well, the Guardians won. So, hey, we're in good shape there. And yeah, good times there. So, Mike, thank you very much. As always, enjoy your evening, the peace and quiet. Have a wonderful week. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. Thank you, Mike, over there in the UK, for all your commentary. Always love the questions and comments. And again, be sure to follow us, like, subscribe on our YouTube channels. You can pick up the podcasts on all of your favorite podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify. Go to the Odyssey app. Look for the Fanatical Elves Network. Look under Cleveland Browns and, figure out all of the fine places you can listen to the programming of the Fanatical Elves. And go to Fans First Sports Network. There's a lot of programming for a lot of other cities. And again, if you're looking for any auto solutions, car audio, etc., hit up Horizon Auto in North Canton on Whipple Avenue, Canton on Tuscarawas Street, or in Alliance on South Union Avenue. So, for Mike Rosinski, I'm Ethan Greenberg, and you have been tuned in to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land.